Here we have derivation 313. So we'll show the conclusion, assume ID, and go ahead and QN. That's an existential. So in fact, we could even just do EI right there on that first line. We want to look for other EIs. We see that premise 2 is an existential, so we'll EI that again to a new variable, because if we did it to an old variable, EI always has to be to a new variable, so we'll do J. We look at our other two premises. We see that they're both universals, so we're done with UI, and we see that it is now time to go ahead and do universal instantiation. So let's look at premise 1 first. So we can do premise 1 if we UI to I, and that looks useful. That can interact with 2 with 4, so we can do 2 for BP. If the left side of the biconditional is false, as line 2 tells us, then the right side of the biconditional is also false. And let's go ahead and De Morgan's that right away. Now let's see, can we also use, what about premise 1 with J? Well, so we have Fj if and only if Gj or Hj. Well, we don't have Fj, so we can't do BP from left to right. And we don't have Gj or Hj, so we can't do BP from right to left. But we can get Gj or Hj, because we have, on line 3, we have Gj, so we can add Hj on the right from line 3. And so we can do BP to get Fj. Okay. Let's look at premise 3, which is this. Let's go ahead and bring it in, actually, so we can look at it. So we have for all x, if fx, then for all x, hx. So if we instantiate that to I, that's not going to be very helpful. I mean, it might be. We can't do modus ponens with this. And we could eventually do modus tollens with it if we messed around for a little bit. But at the moment, it doesn't look very useful because we don't have fi. We have not fi. That doesn't let us do modus tollens. Modus ponens. On the other hand, on line 8, we have fj. And so that means it makes sense to instantiate line 9 to j, because then we can do 8, 10 modus ponens. Now, can we... is for all x, hx useful? Well, it's a new universal quantifier, so we want to instantiate it. So we want to instantiate it to I or to j or maybe both. Well, if we look up at what we've got, we see that on line 5 we have not gi and not hi, and so in particular we have not hi, and 11 gives us hi, and that's an indirect derivation. So that's 313.